There he is, the Naga Siren brother of Owie, playing for Team Liquid and loving life whenever he gets a Naga, he said as well. I personally think that's disgraceful behaviour.
I like Naga too.
Yeah.
Oh, come on, Ben.
I pick Naga. He's like probably, hopefully, one of my top 10 most played. I'm not ashamed.
Like Shiva said, you don't feel a little bit dirty?
Nope.
No shame.
No shame.
Shame.
I mean, there's no
whatsoever.
reason to be.
I never considered myself Naga picker, but yesterday when I went to the LAN Cafe, I went through my most successful heroes.
no.
Naga was my second most successful hero in terms of win rate. It's like 68%. I'm like, what? I'm a Naga picker? Like, I didn't think so.
You
You're
didn't
a
even
hidden
know
Naga
yourself.
picker at heart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the Naga panel, I guess.
Yeah, it seems to
honestly.
be the Naga panel. Liquid are a weird team right now, Ben, results-wise. Win Star Ladder, crash out first round of knockouts at DAC. Which version of Liquid are we going to get today?
I don't know.
I mean, that's the problem, isn't
GH
it?
seemed
We don't
confident,
know. I don't
but-
think they know, do they?
They did have a break in between. How was their coaching situation? Do you know?
I think Heen's still there.
He's still there?
coaching.
Okay.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know, though. Cause
I mean, the question was asked, wasn't it? And it said, why are you saying? Because GH said, well, because we kind of pick different stuff and then we have days off and stuff. But that's not a real answer, is it?
no one's going to say, oh, we're not feeling really good. We're going to lose
Of course.
tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So-
Of course. But why do you think it is?
From a player who's on a team that's so inconsistent, I think it's a very hard problem to identify and solve,
Yeah.
It's not like you're...
Is it the patch?
It's all of Dota, honestly. It
Right.
is a patch that helps. Some patches, like on NP, will be
Yeah.
relatively consistent, we think.
Right.
We're doing very well in scrims, doing well in officials. Patch hits, everything changes. You're like, okay, I'm reading these patch notes. This is my idea. Sometimes you're not 100% correct, and you become inconsistent. It's very easy in such a rapidly developing game. It's not even just the patches, just the
Right.
meta game shifts so
Yeah.
much. Like, look at Monkey King. So
Yeah, sure. I mean, Peter, we were speaking to PBD at DAC, and he suggested that sometimes with MP in particular, he was talking about the inconsistencies come from too much theory crafting. Is that something that maybe...
I think it's hard for him to say that when he doesn't hear the conversations.
Of course. But
So-
he was speculating that it might be down to the theory
Maybe,
crafting.
but-
Is that the same with Liquid? Because they don't really seem to be
Liquid
a theory craft kind of team. It's more like Kuro's a very strong leader.
Heen's not, I know that he studies a lot, but he seems pretty
I
easy to
think
get
they're
along
pretty
with.
solid with their ideas, honestly.
Yeah.
I don't think it's that.
And they've
I
been
don't
very
think
good
it's
in
that
previous
either.
patches, haven't they? Last year, I remember earlier on, I think March, April time, they were dominating everything. They were winning, I can't remember all the tournaments they won, but they won a series of tournaments. And they were second at Shanghai, they were second at Manila. I think they were top 4 in the summer at ESL1 Frankfurt. It seemed like you back against them being in the top 4 last year in the first half of the year. You were a mad person, and yet go to TI, bomb out in the top 8. So it's still there, isn't it? That
Yeah, I mean,
inconsistency?
The thing about Liquid is no matter how inconsistent they are, you have Kuro as a captain, you have 5 amazing players on the team. It's very hard to say this team has no chance against anyone.
Yeah.
They can perform. If it's their day, they will do amazing.
That's the thing, isn't it? We are working out which version will come along, gods, but actually we could get the world-class version come along and destroy Newbee 2-0 today.
Absolutely. I mean, it goes both ways. I think to give Newbie some credit, maybe it's not all about whether Liquid shows up or not. Liquid could show up, play good Dota, but Newbie is still themselves got some world-class players. But I think with Liquid, their shortcomings have always come with getting everyone on the same page. The teamwork has always been the issue. There's no question about the individual skill. There's no question about the captain, Kuro, in charge. But getting everyone to kind of play to the same objective has always been their issue. That's why they've had to role swap. GH playing mid Naga. Matu was playing support and Kuro was playing carry for a little while. If you go back to the last major qualifiers, this has always been a team who struggles to find a way to use these incredibly skilled players.
I was going to talk to you all about that as well, this role swapping. When you've got potentially the best player in the world, why do you take him out of the lane?
That's a Kuro decision, right? I think the thing about PBD versus Kuro is PBD I think was really good at curating talent. He had Sumail on his team who was kind of untested. He had you on the team, and it's really hard to put all these talent together as player on a team and make them win. They have the talent. That's not the issue. It's on the captain to make sure everything works out. And Kuro, he just has a problem of actually. What type of strategy do you want? Do you want Miracle to space create? Do you want really 3 farm heavy cores? And there's just so many things running through that because he has so many possibilities and there's so many things that can work, but they haven't actually found a good formula for all of that.
Do you feel he suffers from the post-OG syndrome of being the focus of the team, and OG very much played around him all of the time? Doesn't necessarily happen that way with Liquid, does it?
No. I mean, Miracle looks a lot different. What do you think?
Yeah, I think Miracle is focused on OG. I think Matubaman was focused on a bit at the old Liquid because Fado was a very team player. He would get a lot of farm. He'd make a lot of plays. but he would enable Matuma Man to play at his best. And I think throughout the past 6 months, we've seen a clash of that between Matuma Man and Miracle. Like, they're outstanding players individually, but I don't know how well they are meshing right now.
Would you prefer Liquid to go back and do what OG used to do with Miracle and play 4, protect 1?
The thing is, the reason OG was able to do that is because Notail is just such a fantastic carry at doing that.
Right.
Like, Matuma Man's strengths are different than Notail's. He's not better or worse, maybe. I mean, maybe he's better or worse. I have no idea, because like it's so hard to rank Dota players like that.
Sure.
But Notail is definitely the best in the world at what he does.
Okay.
So it's hard.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, 2 of the best players in the world are also those 2 mid players. We were talking about them a little bit more. Well, let's wax some lyrical about those 2 players right now and show you the matchup between these 2 mids. I can't wait just to see how this pans out. SCC versus Miracle. I'm super excited after what we saw from the Chinese player in DAC. Suddenly become this, out of almost nowhere, you're just going to go, okay, this kid's pretty special. He's pretty good. We already know how good Miracle is. So why am up? Are they both top 3 in the world right now?
I'd say Miracle still. I think SCC is struggling to stay in that top 3 in the world for like the mid roll because of his hero pool. It was really good maybe you go back a few patches ago, and
Right.
I think everyone would be kind of praising him, but it seems like he maybe isn't playing and adapting as well to like the current mid pool, and his versatility isn't quite there as much as someone like Miracles is.
How does that hurt him, Howie, in the draft? Gives him less options, doesn't it?
The thing about SCCC versus Miracle is like maybe his hero pool is a bit different. Maybe he's not playing as well mechanically. Maybe. I don't even know if that's true, to be honest. SCCC is really good at Dota.
Yeah.
But the thing about SCCC is when I watch Newbee play, like whenever the camera's on them, SCCC is talking. He's leading his team. The movements are all around him. So he contributes to the team in a way maybe Miracle doesn't contribute as much.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a good point, actually. Did seem a lot more vocal, didn't he?
Yeah, he's
in the
screaming.
booth?
And he sits in the middle. I
Yeah.
think that's very, very more. Kuro sits in the middle on Team
Yeah,
Liquid.
usually your captain sits in the middle, so that's pretty telling, to be
Yeah,
honest.
and for someone so young with so little experience, that's a lot of pressure, isn't it?
The military background, you know, he's trained, he's disciplined, he's willing to like whip his whole team into
Yeah.
shape and get them all on the same page.
I mean, he
to-
does seem very driven. We saw a feature with him at DAC. Just seems super driven to success and want to take his team forward. And almost, like you said, like a drill sergeant, really. Just trying to get them all ready to get into place. We are into our first draft, and we've had our first 4 bans. And a Crystal Maiden first pick from Newbee.
It is the most picked hero for both teams over the last month. Like, that's the most common thread, so it doesn't really reveal anything when you first pick a Crystal Main. It's just like, we want that as our 5-position support.
That reveals a little bit.
It says that they
haven't
don't respect
seen-
their Monkey King, though.
Have we seen a lion?
Yeah, there have been a few
I think
lines.
so,
Has there?
yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if on the main podcast.
Don't think we've
but
seen him on the mainstream, but yeah.
But remember, Liquid used to first pick Monkey King when they were first pick. And Newbee realized that they were able to give it to him. And I don't think Liquid's Monkey King was that good. And I think it's a completely fine choice by Newbee to like, okay, you guys can have Monkey King.
Do you think it's also them saying, like, Monkey King is no longer even, like, a top pick because it's had, like, a 30% win rate?
Yeah.
Teams
For
probably
some
look at that.
teams.
I think Monkey King lost a lot of his value. Same for Earth Spirit. Like,
Yeah.
you're right that like specific players like Boboka Monkey King, they're going to be outstanding on a hero, but you can only take a hero so far.
Yeah.
They do seem to have been figured out in the group stages.
I think it's interesting. I think it's interesting that Liquid picked their 2 supports like this off the bat. I think it shows what they can move around on the map as. So I expect Newbee to, they picked their offlaner because they think that these 2 supports, if they want to zone out next, they have to fully commit both supports to the lane. That'll sort of open up the map for Newbee's other roamer, who will be empowered by CM Aura to have impact on the other 2 lanes.
Just love playing with CM Aura.
It is the best feeling.
It is really good. Don't need raindrops. Don't need Aquila. What a
Playing
feeling.
CM, you get double aura. So when we play, you should play CM. You can have 2 auras on yourself.
No, thank you. I will pass. Although her talents and Midas. Okay, I don't think Liquid actually played that much. It looks like they were 2-0 in the group stage. Why the Lion early, though? Usually we see Lion sometimes as anti-illusion.
Yeah.
They probably wanted to pick their 2 supports, but I guess it's why
guess.
Lion over the other 5. Like, what are the other 5-position supports? Warlock, we've seen a bit of. Like,
I think it's more like
Disruptor.
what Lion specifically gives you, right? So like Treant will probably have vision, I guess, and Lion gives you this solo kill potential of or pick off potential. And Lion is sort of similar to CM in that you don't reveal too much. He has a little bit of laning weakness, but Treant obviously makes up for that. So while they pick their 2 supports, it's not like the lane's specifically weak. I don't think it leaves them too open. Also, Treant lacks damage and Lion has Finger, which is it's a big damage spell.
So Naga has gone Half the world rejoices, the 3 on the panel cry.
That was fun, man.
They're still out.
There is still an elk in there as well. Yeah. I wonder when the Newbee decided to get rid of that. You wouldn't have assumed they'll get rid of that second phase ban, would they?
Newbee were more likely to play it than Liquid.
Yeah.
By a good margin.
We've only seen Elk, I think, from OG so far here, and that was towards the end of the group stage. So I like the Lycan ban. It's kind of coming back, and that's something Matu was most well known for above all pro players.
I think that hero would have been amazing this game. He's specifically good versus Nyx in lane because he also has increased regen from his 3rd skill, and he just outlast hits Nyx. Lycan's weak in lane, but it's not like if Nyx can't sort of whittle you and out-regen trade you, he's not a good laner either. And Lycan would be able to do really well in lane versus him. There, Spectre.
Okay. Well, that was one of the ones we've called earlier as an exciting new hero.
Exciting. Woo, Spectre.
In comparison to the Naga and the Elk. So we do get the Spectre.
That hero is looking super strong. We mentioned before on this panel, I think, Spectre with Treants is pretty cool. Put the living armor on Spectre. When it blocks damage, you still disperse it out. So living armor effectively becomes a small nuke. Helps deal with Treants' lack of damage.
I think Spectre's maybe like replaced Lone Druid as like the carry with the best talents as well.
Yeah, her
Some
talents are insane.
talents.
Yeah.
Plus all stats, plus 20 strength, and plus 400. You get like plus 800 HP from your last
she
2
gets
towers.
20
So 20,
20 strength
25
and 20.
is 20 strength and then plus 400 on
Yeah.
25? Yeah.
And
Yeah,
then
which is
all
weird,
15,
guys.
15 is all stats.
Isn't that technically a worse 25 though?
Technically, but you know, it's
is.
the
By then
fact
you
that
don't
it's
care.
basically the same. You know, you get a 20, like you get a shit ton of HP at 20, you get a shit ton more at level 25. You're happy. You're tanky.
The strength gives you some HP regen.
Yeah,
I guess.
hello? 0.001 HP regen? Actually, I don't know. What is it, 0.002?
It gives you very little.
I
Yeah.
know.
Almost. Not
Spectre
worth it.
doesn't care, you know. Spectre's just happy to get HP.
Doom 4th pick. Haven't seen a huge amount of Doom.
And I think it's pretty much committed to the offlane.
Yeah.
Or Soul
well,
side.
They
you
owned
would-
with
you
it
would
last
assume
time.
I
because
love
they've
Doom.
got 2 supports in there earlier,
Yeah.
right?
Definitely mind control here.
Yeah, I love Doom as a hero right now. I think he might be a top 3 team fighter in the game, honestly. People sort of underrated. It's not even about Doom. It's the fact that he presses his 2nd spell, he just runs in, you know, he slaps someone with... I don't know the names of skills, you know.
Infernal Blade and Scorched
I
Earth.
refer to them as W and E. So like,
That's okay, so do I.
so you know, he E's someone, he Infernal
He
Blades
does his
someone.
I feel
fire
so much
spell.
better right
Yeah,
now.
he swings his sword on them. Oh my god.
Could we potentially be seeing more AA as a counter to Doom? That's what used to happen.
Yeah.
Then you just completely nullify.
Yeah, it's sort of hard to like counter the 3 position with a support who might not zone him in lane too. Like the thing is, Doom will go to the jungle, A will try to run in, and A
Yeah.
running into jungle isn't that scary. You're
It
right
sounds
though.
awful versus Treant and
Yeah.
Spectre, though. It's
She is super good in teamfights versus Doom though.
We've had 99 picked or banned, and I don't think AA is one of them.
99?
Yeah, 99.
That's a lot of
AA
heroes.
is not one of them. I kind of want to see AA.
I don't think AA has been picked or banned so far.
So with Shalfin Juggernaut, generally you're going to want to push. Shalfin's a hero who has very early physical damage. Juggernaut's healing word provides him the sustain he needs to hit these towers. I think what they identified is that Team Liquid don't really have any outspam. Their best outspam is a Lion Impale, and that's pretty terrible. So if you can force them to run into you, I think Newbee feel like they can fight them. If the Doom, the Spectre stuff runs in, they'll hit them with the Crystal Nova, Nyx stun, and probably turn around with Rec Room, and they think that's how they'll win the game.
So last pick's TA blocked by Newbee, yeah. And a coddle block from Liquid.
Newbie looking for Kaka heroes. Play a lot of Earth Spirit, maybe not have the most success. If they want to go for that push to try and take advantage of like the lack of outspam, maybe they look more elsewhere though.
I'd like to see an AoE stun out of them.
Oh, second banned?
I think when you have a hero like Shadowfiend who can hit a tower, you really want heroes who can counter-initiate when the other team has to go on it. You know, he's hitting your objective. They have to go.
And also just like securing an SF's early lane stage, like having that Earth Spirit,
I was gonna
Ricky
say, yeah.
type hero.
Yeah, the Earth Spirit is not banned either.
Yeah, it's sort of interesting though about Ricky. Some teams it's just so first pick.
Yeah.
We saw like
First pick or
Seeker,
first
OG,
ban.
yeah. And here it's just not picked at all.
Oh,
Omni. Does that put
is that a
Nyx
Nyx
at
support?
4th position probably? Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I would put the Nyx support here.
Yep. Newbie do this quite a bit where they'll
Yeah.
first to pick like a hero that you think KP's going to play. They do it with Nyx and Sanking, and then sometimes they'll swap it over to the 4 position role and get an offlaner last.
And Liquid go with the Tinker to finish
That-
off their draft.
That's a hard Tinker game.
It really is.
They have Nyx, Juggernaut, and there's one more to counter them. Memory's failing me. There's a hero on the most left.
Not Omni.
But yeah, Omni. Omni is good versus Tinker.
Yeah.
I think. Sorry.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he's gonna march. He's gonna get stunned by Nyx. He will die. Red Eye's laughing at me, guys.
I'm not laughing. I'm laughing
I
with
forgot
Ben.
the skill names, and I can't remember.
I'm
hero
feeling
that's in
better
screen in
about
front of
myself that
me.
I call it E or W or something. Anyway, we're going to do predictions now. We'll start with Gods. Which draft do you prefer? Which team do you prefer for game one?
Game one, I'm going with Newbee. I like the draft a bit better. It's more well-rounded. They've got good objective taking and feeling good about what they have there.
Okay. Ben?
I'm going with Liquid. I believe in the Doom. It owned the games that we saw in the group stage, and I think it will own this game too.
Okay, one for each so far. Ali?
I like Newbee. I really like the Doom pick as well, but I think the Tinker pick was a bit lackluster. If there's anyone who can make it work, it'll be Miracle, but that's hard. That is a really hard game.
This is a tough game, isn't it, this one? Indeed. Okay, those are the predictions of our panel. We're going to head over to the main arena now for our second series of the day. Game one. Hold on to your seats. This could be a fun one. Liquid versus Newbee.
Thank you very much, Paul. And indeed, we're getting ready to go through the second series of the day here at the Kiev Major. We have Team Liquid up against Newbee. I'm Odie Pixel. I'll be joined by Cinnamon for this best of three. We've just seen the drafts. It's pretty damn exciting. We've got Liquid going with the Global, Matsuma Man Spectre, Miracle on the Tinker, and Newbee with their classics. The mid lane, SCCC Shadow Fiend, and the U9 Juggernaut. Who's going to take it, Sin? Who came out on top of this draft?
I like Newbee.
You like Newbee?
Quite a lot in this.
You like the Jug. I mean, back on your team. That every game you played it. Well, you didn't play it, but it was played. Your team. You loved. What is it about Juggernaut?
I think Juggernaut.
What is so safe about this hero?
Yeah, he's a solid hero. There's a couple of things that make it really powerful. It's pretty self-sustainable in lane because it has Healing Ward and a Magic Immunity spell. It's all right at pushing towers for the same reasons. It's all right for taking Roshan. If you have anything that amplifies him just a bit, he hits pretty hard fairly early in the game. Great base attack time. Yeah, he's just like the whole package. He's a safe pick. If you feel like you want to pick a core and you don't know exactly what you're facing yet, he's a good choice. He also peaks pretty early in the game. He can be strong after he's only like level 6 or 7. He's strong. And at the same time, he also scales very well into later on. Just great overall, well-rounded hero.
I mean, scales very well. Does it scale enough against a Tinker and a Spectre?
I think the pick is got even better than what Newbee were hoping for that reason. I am very skeptical about this Tinker pick. I'm not really feeling it for two reasons. One is the Juggernaut. I think if you're pushing into Tinker, Healing Ward is one of the absolute best things you can have. You obviously can sustain into the March of the Machines because of the Healing Ward. And in addition, they also have Nyx, who is generally a counter pick against Tinker that teams will go for specifically to counter that hero. Newbee had it first phase. So for me, when I look at Liquid's lineup, I see a super greedy lineup where both Spectre and Tinker need a lot of farm and space created for them. And Doom is all right for doing that, but not perfect. And if the early laning stage for Newbee goes well, I think they could take this game by storm. However, if it's even 20, 25 minutes in, Liquid's lineup will start to take off. And they've drafted like this in a lot of games, Liquid. They seem like one of the greedier teams in the tournament.
Absolutely, yeah. The mind-controlled Doom, as you said, it is going to be something to watch. Doom, a hero as well. DAC wasn't favored. I think we saw it in maybe 1 or 2 games, and it just didn't hit it off. Well, what's kind of made it now be a pick that teams are now seriously considering, and people are talking about the fact that this hero can be very strong in certain games?
I think it got a couple of buffs in 7.05, I would say. I'm pretty sure it got some buffs. The talents got better. I believe that was the main thing, if not the only thing for him. The game also slowed down a little bit, which I think favors Doom a little bit more than some other heroes, because he takes some time to build up. You want to get a couple of items with Devour. The fact that a lot of people are building Midas, Doom loves to do that, so that's also good. We're going to see a little bit of a contesting here at the bottom.
Absolutely. Nice little stun there for GH, allowing Kuroki to grab the bounty rune. And getting a fair bit of harassment down on SCCC as well, bringing him down to half health. But yeah, very nice timing on the Impale from GH.
This is a very good head start mid for Miracle. The fact that this Tango is already on cooldown for the Shadow Fiend. I think this matchup is very volatile. Or overall, Tinker should dominate Shadow Fiend on the first couple of waves until he gets souls. And that's why Kaka's here. They need to make sure.
Look, because of Kaka's aggression, he could be in a potentially dangerous position. I say that though, GH and Kuroki, they've got their eyes on the bigger prize. A lot of harassment onto SCCC as he's trying to make his way up to the high ground. He will be forced to pop the shrine early. Liquid, we'll see how much they want to stick around. GH comes in and makes sure that he doesn't get the full heal out of the shrine. And I mean, as you said, Kaka was sent there by Newbee to be an issue in the lane, but Liquid, they hit back even harder.
Yeah, this is very unusual to do when your safe lane carries a Spectre. Very rarely do you see this hero stand alone in lane because of how weak it is early on. But it's an off-lane Omni Knight, so they can probably do it for a little bit. Matumba will need help. If this lane is one-on-one, he will get crushed eventually. But Omni generally starts getting scary for the Spectre around level 2.5, maybe 3. When you get the 2 points in Purification and the 1 point in degen, it gets hard. But they have a little bit of a buffer, so they prioritize giving Miracle a good start here. And more importantly, probably shutting down SCC.
Yeah, and they are setting up to move back down towards the bottom lane. They're coming through the river, waiting for KP to ideally for Liquid move a little further forward. KP will be gone on. He is close enough to the tower to get back to safety, but yeah, very, very high activity from these two supports of Liquid. GH and Kuroki making sure that their presence is felt both down bottom and in the middle lane. Of course, the top lane, the one to be left alone, Mind Control at the moment, is finding a bit of CS. He's, by the looks of it, being able to stay in lane to get the XP as well. This bottom lane, this aggression from Liquid, forcing KP right back to the tier 2s as Matumba, man, farms between the tier 1 and the tier 2. Why is it that Liquid could get away with this? Do they just know that Newbee's not going to come in with a response?
KP is losing a lot of experience. So first of all, that's why it's a good play. There was a huge wave coming in, and he only got about a third of the experience because the range creeps died to the tower. They're probably looking over to Newbee. They know this Nyx doesn't have a TP. He was spotted earlier around the mid area. And even should he TP in, Omni Knight is not the best hero at taking advantage of it. And they have Treant and Lion should be able to disengage and get out. I believe they had a TP on Treant. Lion did not have one, but he has boots, so probably imagining that they could get out. Should be said, however, they're spending a lot of time on this, and that's time they're not getting experience themselves, really. The two supports of Liquid are both level 1. Actually, Lion just got his level 2 from the bounty, but Crystal Maiden is closing in on level 3. The Nyx Assassin is also level 2, so slight experience advantage for them in that regard.
Kaka start to come up to the top lane and sit around with Faith and U9. Make sure that the Jug gets the space to CS, and looking at that in a moment, does have the lead on the board, 15-8. But Timberman only a little behind with a 12-1. The mid lane matchup still, of course, with that edge for Miracle, thanks to that early presence of both of his supports in the lane. No one yet to have their blood spilt. As much as Liquid would have loved to have found some action to do so, GH and Kuroki presence-wise, they're kind of sitting back down on this bottom lane now. So I guess just really emphasizing the fact that they want to get him to be the man this far. They look towards KP, but again, the fact that he's now level 3, it's a hard target to bring down.
Their lane doesn't really have that good kill potential on him, especially if there's a TP rotation. But they need to try to put whatever pressure they can on him so Matumba can CS freely. They do manage to push him away a little bit here once again. I think this is an Omni Knight with, is it level 2 Maiden Aura? No, not just yet. We're going to see if he skills it level 3. I would imagine most Maidens go 0-1-2 build. That is a big buff for Omni Knight to have. The Arcane Aura makes a very big difference for him. Actually, it's going to be a Nova point for Faith, so only level 1 Aura.
Karka did come across. Kuroki was hoping to steal the bounty rune, but unsuccessful. Miracle will manage to pick himself up a haste rune from up top, so we'll see if he sees any opportunity to utilize in the mid lane. Does have to be careful with both Kaka and Faith hanging around now with SCCC.
This is such a difficult kill though with the haste. They have to chain the Nyx stun into. Oh,
he's getting very greedy. He just hastes up to the high ground. Miracle just not playing in a sense of awareness that these supports were going to be sitting there and massively overestimating what he could get away with that haste rune sin.
Yeah, that's one of those things where it's a bit difficult when you see both teams fog of war at the same time. He had absolutely no vision on the high ground there, so just a super aggressive play, and Newbee took advantage of their own ward that they have on the Radiant side of that cliff to get a good read on what Miracle might be doing and effectively just baiting SCC, and that's big, this kill.
Absolutely. I mean, this Shadow Fiend now, you know, he's level with the CS and Miracle, has that first blood in his pocket as well. SCCC is going to be loving life. And as you mentioned, you know, Liquid supports, they were active early. Now it's starting to stagnate what they can do in terms of kill potential, and they are just staying down here on the bottom lane. And even with that in mind, Kaka actually making a go onto Matumba Man. The infused range drop will help Matumba just a little bit. Faves there as well. And GH, he's going to be the one to get surrounded. And Newbee, again with these rotations, pick up a second kill.
Faith might die here. That was really close. Oh, 3 HP. Alright, siege creep. Very close. Does get out though. Yeah, this,
whoa. 1v1, they both bring each other down. Miracle will get the experience though, and of course the extra bit of gold bounty with the fact that he was bringing down SCCC, who already picked up that kill.
That's a very big win for Miracle getting this kill. Super close as well.
Yeah.
When these two heroes both reach level 5, there's so much burst potential in both of them. Raindrop is good for both of them as well,
sure.
so you need to take a lot of things into account here in that matchup.
And Very Fire, I believe, making the difference there for Miracle.
Oh, he had one?
Yeah.
Oh, it's very nice. Yeah, this mid lane has definitely been the lane to watch so far. Newbee, of course, managing to get the kill first on Miracle, but when you turn it around like this, generally the way it should be, you know, is if your mid lane gets a kill, it should be under control unless it gets counter ganked. But if this manages to happen, Miracle's just pulled back at full advantage in this lane, and now he's bullying SCC out when generally level 5 is when Shadow Fiend starts feeling safe here. Just double raise the wave, go to the jungle and farm a bit, but Miracle is playing ultra aggressively on him here in the mid.
Supports, we'll see what they have for Newbee, Faith and Kaka. On the high ground, are smoked up. We'll see if they are able to get a jump. Liquid themselves do have GH and Kuroki
Good
also
position
around.
on GH, very nice.
Dispelling the smoke, Kaka tries to go for the stun, but GH is there with the quicker reactions, and Miracle comes across with a burst. And at the end of the day, the smoke results in Liquid themselves securing another kill for Miracle.
That's just an excellent read. The perfect positioning from GH, perfect stun, and of course combining it with the Tinker. The Treant actually didn't even need to be there at the end of the day, but yep. Nicely spotted by Liquid. They're going to use their own smoke to go up to top now. I feel like this kill is definitely possible if they get Doom off. The question is if U9 is even going to give Doom the chance to cast that spell, because I feel like Doom could solo him as well almost.
They're actually going to be able to find the CM instead. It's the easier kill, by no means the one that would have been ideal, but it will be something. But the good news, of course, for Newbee means that gives them the info to get the Jug out of there, and U9 to avoid a potentially fatal gank.
Yep. Still looking at the CS. I'm glancing at that a bit. The Newbee lineup are getting a lot out of the laning stage. I feel like this is the price Liquid will have to pay in this game just by virtue of how greedy their lineup is. Their supports can't be everywhere at once. And Spectre needs help. The Tinker mid will probably get out farmed a little bit by
bottom
Shadow
as well.
Fiend.
KP forces Matuma to TP out of the lane because of the fact that the supports, they are looking elsewhere and they're not remaining with the Spectre.
It's not getting easier either. The Somnanite is level 7 and Matumba has no health regen in lane. So if he goes down, gets purified twice, he's dead.
They will go for the quick horn up at the top lane because Doomsby jumped up at this. Could be kind of bad news for Matumba. He will jump himself back out of there. Looks like he wanted to try and come in to help Mind Control turn it, but it just didn't happen. And Newbee picking up the 4th kill. Again, their support rotations now seeming to be a little stronger between Kaka and Faith.
This last minute for Matumba sucks when that happens on your Spectre. This is really, really bad for him. He loses a good like 10, 12, 15 CS on having to TP back to base, run all the way down to lane. And not only that, he also stayed in base using the Haunt, like you said.
Look at this down bottom, Sin. They really want to punish KP. He was just diving the towers. I don't think he expected Mind Control to be there as well. They'll go in with the 4-man movement onto the Omni Knight.
They need this kill on Spectre. Oh, he didn't get it.
Mind Control gets it. Yeah. Matumba man really needs that pickup to climb him back in. At the moment, he's on the same net worth as Mind Control, and that's not ideal.
It definitely, I mean, it's a bit deceptive when it's Doom, but because he gets the Devour bonus gold, but still, it was a 3-on-1 in theory bottom lane they could have chosen. Like, this is a choice by Liquid. Matumba hasn't played awful. That's not why he has low farm. But his supports have left him alone a lot, and that's just how this lane is going to go. Like, if you leave him alone against Omni Knight, he will suffer a bit. So Liquid has made the investment of putting a bit more into the Miracle basket and try to get him fast travels, as well as utilizing Mind Control top. I would say overall, I would have liked them to put a little more emphasis on Matumba man's lane in this game. But generally, Spectre is fairly good at coming back as long as the early game isn't completely abysmal. If your other heroes can set you up for a couple of Haunt kills, you're back in there. It's going to TP top, actually. There's a Nyx farming up here, so Matumba man probably feels fairly safe being here for a bit. But essentially, this should sacrifice their bottom tower. He doesn't have Haunt yet.
Yeah, Liquid need to be very careful how they go about trying to hold this. U9 has rotated into the bottom lane. Newbee with 4 members
as well. This can get really, really nasty for Liquid.
I believe they should see him have picked him up because he picked it straight up from the bottom rune spot and they had the vision out. So they should be aware that SCCC is coming down looking for the invis plays. GH is trying to play it safe. It's as if he kind of knows, but it doesn't matter. He will get the Hex off, but almost certainly will go down with Faith and KP chasing him. One raise should do it, and SCCC finds the kill, and Newbee will get the space to bring down the safe lane tier 1 of Liquids.
and it's at the cost of very little. Their mid tower is full HP, Kaka got level 6 top, and he's just there, and that's, again, greed is really the name of the game here for Liquid. They don't have any pushing power, they need to farm a lot before they come online, and I think they've played a pretty solid early game. Oh, Kuroki being annoying.
This top lane, look, Kaka comes straight in with the Vendetta gank, and bam, KP with the burst, brings down the Spectre. A great use there of Kaka first hitting that level 6 and making sure that the first kill is a big one.
Matumba might have felt a bit safe because U9 was TPing and got cancelled by Kuro. So he was like, okay, that was the rotation they were trying to make, was using the Juggernaut ultimate to kill me top, and it got cancelled, and then he just gets killed by something else. Newbee are looking very good in this game right now. It's
very tight.
It's tough. In a way, I feel like Liquid drafted this, and they cannot possibly expect to win the early game. I think if you pick these heroes and you think you're going to stomp your opponent in the first 15 minutes, you're a bit naive. Like it doesn't really seem plausible to think that. So they've got to play it slow. They've got to get a couple of key items. And more important than anything, in my opinion, they need to make sure Matumba gets to play Dota. Like they can't just sacrifice their Spectre as hard as they have so far and continue doing so. If they do that, then every single time Doom is off cooldown, they need to kill with Doom. And right now, Mind Control is running around the jungle with Doom available, and he's not able to fight just now. He actually has 8 sticks, so he could rotate in. But all 3 cores are farming more than anything else. The problem is they're not farming more than their opponents.
That's true. They do have good ways to set up for Matumba to join in. You know, Miracle did get the 11-minute timing on the bots, very good on this Tinker. And of course with the build, he has got the 3 points in Rocket, so a lot of burst. So if he sees the opportunity to bots in, bring him down low, absolutely, you know, Matumba can jump in and find himself in those kills. So they do have routes to bring Matumba out of this slump that he's kind of come out of from the early game. But it's certainly looking tough for them, especially with just the size that both SCCC and U9 are getting to at this point. At over 5k in net worth, the farm is just not stopping for these 2 cores.
Yeah, they did get their level 6 on the Lion now, Liquid did. So probably going to be looking to utilize that right away. I think that's how Liquid have to play their lineup. When their big ultimates are off cooldown, you got to go and make something happen with them instead of just sitting back. It's worth noting that Train's level 5, 13 minutes in. And Lion, I believe, did use the Tome of Knowledge, so Newbie's supports are far ahead on experience. Crystal Maiden is level 6.5, Nyx is level 7 from taking the top lane that little bit, and it just gives Newbee that much more play potential than what we're seeing coming out of Liquid right now. And they're going to utilize it as it looks like right away. They're going to smoke, head up to top. If this plays successful, that's a tower. Great scan from the Dire here. They could bait KP in if they want to, but I think they'd rather have someone else get Doom.
But that kind of scan could be a bit of a false one, because they know that Mind Control is already there. So maybe just expecting him to be on his own and him to be the only one to hit it. Liquid are going to come in for the fight. Spike and the Finger with the Rockets will take the first kill. The healing was out for Newbee, as well as the Omni ult. They'll try and fight back into this one. Matumba's actually continuing to chase. They did get the Doom out onto the SF, but the first heal will pop him back up. Looks towards Kuroki. They'll get a kill in return, Newbee. They'll keep U9 safe as he Blade Fury's back behind the tower. Matumba now has to be careful on the retreat. Miracle on the sideline, still with a pretty full tank of mana. Seeing if he can maybe find U9 low, bring SCCC down very low with the Margin Machines. SCCC will be able to walk out, but Miracle pays with his life at that attempt. Kaka hunts him down with the Impale. And at the end of the day, Newbee gets it all. And KP, I mean, he's going to be turning into a carry Omni at this rate with the amount of kills he's racking up.
Yeah, he's getting very rich.
1,200 on top of Midas at 14 minutes in. At top of the network, again, this Omni Knight, it's going to be pretty disgusting.
This was exceptional positioning from Kuro, by the way. I want to point that out. Like, the reason this smoke doesn't work out better for Newbee is that Kuro is in the perfect part of the tree line, breaks their smoke, gives them a good read to start off by insta-killing the CM. But it still wasn't enough. They still get a 2-for-1 trade-off here due Newbee.
Yeah, and that was one of the attempts they really needed to make work. As you mentioned, you know, reveal of the Finger. Maybe with this deep play, they can punish it. U9 will be able to get himself away. The healing wall was already out. They get the dust onto Kaka. Let's see if they can chase down the Nyx Assassin. At least as Newbee continues to back up, and now with the stick charges, Kaka is going to survive for the time being. Faith turns around with a Frostbite onto Kuroki. He's surrounded. The Purification and the Crypt from U9 bursting down. And again, Liquid struggling to find these kills on this top lane, and Newbee just hitting back that little bit harder with that lead that they were able to gain from the lanes.
I think they really need to give Kuro level 6. I understand that he's trying to be very selfless on this tree and let all his cores take farm, but imagine that play top where they go for the smoke. If Kuro is level 6, it's a totally different story.
Yeah,
that might be a disaster for Newbee, but they're missing that key piece in their lineup that is that AoE control, because all of the other heroes don't really provide. I feel like GH has been landing pretty much almost the best stuns he can at every single play, but the follow-up isn't there. They can doom someone, well, he runs away. Like, nobody's going to stop him from running away. They can just heal him, repel him, and he's good. And if it's the Omni getting doomed, he's a pretty difficult kill, and he has good backup.
And now at this point, KP with a Hood of Defiance, I'm starting to question if they can kill him at all. I mean, where's the physical? It's all magical, it's all burst. This Omni Knight is literally just going to be able to walk onto the front lines, save whoever else is being gone on, and get out of there.
Yeah,
it's
more or less.
It's so hard to fight into this 5-mana Newbee now if you're Liquid.
Absolutely. They need to buy some serious time right now. Matumba looks to be going straight for Radiance after this Urn. I think it's probably the right choice in this game. The thing is, once again, it's a big step. It's a big chunk of money that he needs to get, and this map is not safe, especially not if they lose this mid-tier 1. The top tier 1 for Liquid still looking all right. Kuro obviously maxing out that living armor is going to help a lot. But Newbee, with any successful gank in the mid area, they take the tower from 100 to 0 more than likely with healing wards. So scary times ahead here for Team Liquid. Newbee, on the other hand, are maxing out hard. They have such a big lead already in this game.
All three of their cores in the perfect position in terms of net worth and farm. SCCC onto the Dragon Launch. Yasha looking towards the Manta.
They're actually pushing bottom without Omni Knight. This could be an opportunity for Liquid.
And they do have Haunt back up. Finger as well. They have the big ultimates, Liquid. It's kind of all about, really, at the moment, closing that gap. And, of course, with no Blink Daggers online yet, that's very hard to do so against Newbee's lineup.
Newbee
Lots of ways they can react to it.
This ward is so good for Newbee right now. The one behind the tower, they have all the information in the world to just keep going here. And somebody from Liquid has to go on the Shadow Fiend, else this tower will fall. They have healing ward, they
But
want
how do you get on him? How do you even close this gap?
You don't pick these heroes. That's pretty much the way you get on him right now. I don't think they have a choice. This tower's gone. And they can't really trade. That's the issue. Like you saw, for example, in the Mouse Sports game we just saw against IG. When IG were pushing as 5-man and Mouse didn't want to fight them, they split pushed and took another tower or put some pressure elsewhere.
Exactly. I mean, which of these heroes hits the tower?
Nobody can push this tower right now. So Liquid have to, again, play it slow. And that will eventually mean in this game they're more than likely going to be down 5 digits on gold. It could even be a 15,000 lead, and then they have to win by massively outplaying in their own base.
Get the dust out here onto the Nyx Assassin with the burst of the finger, bringing him down low. But Kaka pops the stick charges, turns around with the stun. GH is blown up. They will lose the Nyx Assassin. So Liquid gets the 1-for-1. They've got the vision on Kuroki, though. The sentry's out. Doom will be dropped onto SCCC. Can Liquid dive for this? Miracle, he'd love to find it. Matuma Man getting the vision here on the front lines with the horn. Looking a massive kill, bringing down the Shadow Fiend, but now mind control. Stuck under the tower, takes an Omni Slash to the face. Newbee will find the trade. Miracle does manage to make sure the numbers end up favoring Liquid with the final third kill of the fight on the side of Newbee. So a 3-for-2, numbers going the way of Liquid, and the fact that they bring down that SF is absolutely worth it. Big money and big games for Matumba Man.
Play from Matumba here, getting out with so little health, instantly earning, identifying that he can get in and killing the Shadow Fiend and still survive once again after. That was a 735 gold kill for him.
And look, he's very close to the Relic now.
Relic
3k gold in the bank now.
This is exactly what needs to happen for Liquid's lineup. So they're completely identifying what risks they're taking with their draft and what they need to do to get themselves into a good position. And that way, more of that stuff will put them back in the game. I don't think it's enough yet that we can say they've recovered, but it's a step for them in the right direction for sure. Relic for Spectre will be a big deal. Oh, well, Radiance will be a big deal. But just securing the Relic, so even if you die, is going to be helpful. And it puts pressure on the opponent when they see that Relic. It stresses you out a bit. Spectre is one of the few heroes where that item has such a massive impact when you pick it up that you start maybe worrying about it a bit. But at the same time, I look at this Newbee lineup and I see a lot of good heroes against Spectre still. I think Omni Knight is pretty good. Sure, you can get a Diffusal eventually, but until that point, Omni keeps your heroes nice and safe. The Spike Carapace from Nyx against Radiance, guaranteed stun on the Spectre.
Sure. I mean, this Nyx is, as you already mentioned, with the way that it's used to catch the Tinker, there's a lot of strengths for this Nyx this game. Kaka has already been having a very, very much felt impact. And Newbee will be able to secure themselves Roshan. And I mean, even if Liquid knew that that was there, there's kind of no way they can contest that, is there? With Horn unavailable, they just can't fight Newbee at this stage.
Yeah, without Horn and Doom, they don't stand a chance, I think. So they have to concede it. And once again, the problem is they get nothing in return.
Kuroki manages to TP straight out under the noses there. All the stuns already used. So Kuroki in a situation that looked like he was almost certainly going to die.
I'm very surprised by this build on the Crystal Maiden. I don't think I've seen this for an eternity. It feels like I'm being brought back in time when people thought Freezing Field was a bad spell. Like, honestly, I think almost every single game you want to skill a point in this ability. Not necessarily level 6, but I would say pre-10, just because situations may arise where you can get a good Freezing Field, and if nothing else, if you draw a stun on yourself, it's a stun that doesn't go on a core. Like, you become a way bigger threat in the fight. So personally, not that big a fan of this, not skilling Freezing Field. He even took his magic resistance talent over it for now. I would really like to see that Freezing Field come out for Faith. I feel like there's been 2 or 3 situations already where he could have made a big difference with that ultimate point.
Top lane Newbee will get the push together with the healing ward, take down the tier 1.
Maybe it's next on the menu, I think.
Yeah.
It's got to be.
Just take out these easier towers.
Matsu's Radiance is almost up, so very
And
good
top
comeback.
lane, look at this here with the Hex Doom initiation, bringing Kaka down low. He should definitely go with the rocket flying through for Miracle, secures the kill, and mind control straight out with the TP. It's secure, very, very clean pickup.
Clutch on the rocket there. That was very, very close to Omni saving him with a TP into heal. Nyx even moved downward toward the Omni to receive the heal, but the rocket was a bit too fast. So they get another pick here. This one went the way of Miracle, who is now closing in on his Aether Lens. Still, more build-up to go. We're more than likely going to see an Aghanims this game. Newbee's lineup is kind of destined to group up a bit in fights. And obviously having that bouncing laser against 2 physical damage cores is great. Unfortunately, one of them will have Repel a lot of the time, and the other one will have a BKB. But I still think it might be the way to go. I'm worried for Liquid that if Miracle doesn't take a damage route, they won't have enough punch to kill heroes. He's actually planning Dagon. Okay, that's also good.
Mid lane, mind control being gone on here, leading with the Frostbite. Omni drops as well. Make sure that U9 guarantees the kill. And Newbee as a whole, the tier 1 tower in the mid lane. No interest for Liquid to fight with their Doom down. They will back off. And I mean, imagine with this newly found Radiance, do Liquid want to fight ASAP, or can they afford to wait for a certain other pickup before they then look to fight?
I don't think they win a 5-on-5 flat team fight where the teams are both in position and Newbee have an Aegis. Okay. I don't see it happening. The Omni Knight has a pipe. They have Healing Ward. And as mentioned, they have the Aegis. It's really a game changer to get this Radiance, but I don't think it's enough just yet. Oh, Matumba, very nice switching off the Radiance here. Probably kept him alive.
Absolutely did.
Carapace couldn't proc him, and he does get a good read from him. And Assassin's Faith could hear me. He skilled his ulti on the main. Now I'm happy again. Now I can be at ease.
There we go. Gets 11. I imagine, yeah, we'll pick up the second point at 12.
Not necessarily.
You don't think so?
That's something I'm a bit more uncertain about, because the spell is so expensive. It's 200 mana cost per level. So if he skills his ulti level 2, he can't even cast all 3 of his spells in a row. It is a good skill point. It's like the spell scales well, but you need more items than this to make it work. I think he keeps it level 1 and goes for the Glimmer. If you level it up to level 2, you can't cast it.
Top lane, Newbee, again with these pushes. It looks like at the moment Liquid just avoiding these tier 2 defenses.
Yeah, it's the right choice. I think this is difficult. Tinker can try to delay it a little bit, but eventually this Shadowfiend Manta style will pierce through the living armor.
Liquid, look when we're here with this smoke. They've dropped the sentry. Kaka on the high ground realizes that he has been spotted. Immediate D-ward. Now Liquid themselves have to be careful. Miracle deeping across to the shrine. Kuroki looking for a potential leading, getting in a complete for the overgrowth. Gets it onto one with a finger. Coming through, bringing Faith down low. They'll find the Crystal Maiden. The Doom has been dropped on the Omni. Great Doom, making sure the KP is limited this fight. The burst from Miracle secures Liquid the second kill. In the tree line though, U9 manning up against Matuma Man. SCCC looking to line up the raises. Doesn't need to at the end of the day. U9 hits the crit. And they will lose the Spectre, Liquid. 2 for 1. Liquid maybe seeing if they could go in for anything more. They're healing up by the shrine. They've still got 4 versus the 3 of Newbee.
There's still Omni Slash available. They need to be careful here.
There's the first diffuser. Might try to blink back. And I
out.
believe, yeah, that they are just going to avoid this now. So a 2 for 1, but they do lose Matumba but the Omni Knight still is a big kill considering the start that KP's had in this game.
Yeah, it's crucial that they get Doom out on him here at Mind Control. Unfortunately, that for him, that is a 100-second cooldown still to go. So if Newbee want to, they could go and push a lane still. Their Aegis is on cooldown, however, so maybe they will decide not to do that. Play it a bit slower. But Liquid are starting to get a decent foothold in this game at this point. Like
They're certainly slowing down the lead that Newbee was creating.
They got the about 10k deficit. They actually managed to stay above that, or below, I guess you should say, on the graph it's above. And they're within a decent reach here. Liquid's lineup scales incredibly well super late into the game. Spectre and Tinker, two of the fiercest heroes when they have full inventories later on. And they have a good supporting cast around it, so I could definitely see this working out for Liquid if they take another fight of this type, where they get the Doom on the Omni Knight, control the fight nicely, take advantage of the fact that they had superior vision in the area, or at least had the Shrine advantage. They should be able to pull out more fights of this type.
And two of Newbee's cores going to be a little more elusive in these fights, though, with both U9 and KP finishing off their Blink Daggers. So it will be that little harder for Mind Control to get in and drop that Doom if he's quick on the fingers. KP, top lane Matumba, bring the tier 1 down very low. We are going to see Newbee head over, and Newbee will have the chance to pick up a DD if they so wish, and indeed SCCC with the double damage in his hands. So unlikely to see, and unlikely to see Liquid anyway look for a fight, as you mentioned, with what, Doom, 10 seconds until he's back. They do have Horn. Finger, is that also going to be there? 20 seconds for the Finger. So
yep.
Very much still at the point where they are reliant on having these big spells to be able to play around the fact that Newbee do just have the greater amount of items at hand.
I also like the way Liquid approached the fight in general, that they tried to kill this Maiden instantly. I think it's a good choice just because she's a so much easier target than everyone else, and they can quickly burst her with Tinker and Lion combined.
Look at this up top, they knew GH was in the neighborhood.
And getting that kind of man advantage is key. If this Crystal Maiden doesn't get under control for Team Liquid, at any point in time, a good freezing field from the tree line could cause a massive amount of problems for them. So they just get rid of that issue right away, doom the Omni Knight, and then deal with the cores later. Because I think if Liquid go on one of these tanky cores first, it's going to be an absolute disaster for them. This Shadow Fiend is still a really big guy. Juggernaut is farmed as well. Healing Ward deployed.
Liquid with all ults available. It would be kind of a question to see if they do go for the same movement they went for before in this situation and wrap around through the jungling spot on the side. They're thinking about it, they are smoked up. They did manage to get the ward control, so they know that this area is fairly safe, but it is a similar trick to what they tried before.
Omni has way better positioning this time and a Blink Dagger. It makes it so much harder.
They're prepared for the same sort of move.
Yeah, they definitely are. You see the hero standing on the left. If Liquid had this high ground ward that Newbee have, the Tinker ward on the left, this could be a different story, because then they could still Blink Doom the Omni.
They're going to get the Doom on Mind Control tries, and even though the Blink out was there, he'll still find the range to grab the Doom. A brilliant stun comes out onto 3 though from GH. He will die. Is it going to be enough to allow his team to secure the fight? Jump forward from Miracle will be held back by the Spike Carapace, but they've already brought down 2. There's the Yules trying to protect himself. Miracle gets the burst off in time. They will find the 3rd, but again, it's a 3-for-3 trade. Newbee were able to find 3 back in return, bringing down Miracle. One of the bigger ones. Overall, the gold will favor the side of Newbee, keeping both SCCC and U9 alive. They will still get the tower. In the tree line, GH, he's actually been found out here by U9 as they blink in to the side. They did have, I believe, the Tinker Ward as such on that high ground. And that did manage to secure Newbee another kill. So again, these fights, they are close, but it is still Newbee just getting the upper hand each and every time, getting the objectives and keeping Liquid on the back foot.
And this is not bad execution from Liquid at all.
Yeah.
I think
Look at this replay.
Super good. The instant Blink Doom from Mind Control here, even though the Omni blinks, he gets it off. They get a great stun from GH on 3 heroes. The Requiem, however, did still come out and lowers Liquid's damage just enough that they can't kill off the heroes too quickly. Probably keeps Nyx alive, as a matter of fact, in this fight. And then, well, Miracle will get the trade-off. Close call.
And there we have it. Very, very composed as CCC. As he survives yet another team fight with his team. I mean, look at the SF at the moment. He's 6-2-7. Very impressive. Top of the net worth board. And U9, of course, still yet to die this game on the jug.
Kuro is...
Yep. Now, it should be a freebie. Faith comes out with the freezing field. Kaka has the control.
That is really unlucky Freezing field.
It doesn't look like it's going to be enough. Ah, there we go. The man at the moment, SCCC, coming in for the glory with the raise, up to the high ground. A second kill for the Shadow Fiend. Just as we were talking about him, he comes up to show his prowess. Level 22 as well now. And Newbee should be able to easily secure themselves the Roche and really keep this lead against Liquid.
This is one of those moments where you just call, my bad, you know, Estrian. You're out of position, you get caught. I don't know who made the call there, but this Lion death is completely unnecessary. Like the Treant is dead. Lion was maybe tempting to save him because he got living armor off, but risk reward, realistically, will this Treant get away against multiple Blink Dagger heroes, and will Lion put himself in danger? No and yes. So they get a little bit of a freebie. Of course, Lion has the respawn talent, very nice talent. So comes back alive immediately, but still a bit of extra gold in Newbee's pockets. They get a free Roche. This tower will also fall more than likely. Liquid are not able to defend it. I think Shadow Fiend has also now hit a threshold where his Manta Illusions deal enough damage to destroy living armor. That makes a very big difference for his pushing prowess.
Look at this down bottom, Kaka hunting down Matumba, setting up for the fact that Uni's coming over the...
Radiant's middle tower has fallen.
I think Matumba is hesitating to haunt because he doesn't really know where he can go anyway.
Well, that's the thing.
If he haunts into the team, he also dies.
Yeah,
so.
and he's not going to have it for the inevitable defense that they're going to have to pull together here, Liquid, as Newbee take the final tier 2 and move up to the high ground. Can they stall? They have Tinker. Miracle still in a pretty good place, but the lead in from Kaka. Not going to catch the stun onto GH. Mind Control turns around with the Infernal Blade, trying to force SCCC back. It's all about this Tinker high ground control. Is it going to be enough to stop Newbee?
This is why Healing Ward is absolutely amazing against Tinker. Most other lineups have to go back here. But no problem for Newbee. They even have the Omni-Knight heal to back it up as well. And this tower will fall as it looks. Yeah. Liquid can't put together a defense in time. And this might just be retreat and take shrines time for Newbee. Build that lead even further. I think they're up to about 15k soon. Yeah, looks like it. And this, yeah, bottom shrine will probably be first on the menu. No, actually, they're gonna go for the top one with a haste rune. They have plenty of time left on their Aegis, so I would imagine they want to try to break these racks with it.
Ooh, look at this, though. Liquid coming out of the base, hot on the heels of Newbee.
This will not end well if
This
they run
is
up the high ground.
incredibly risky here from the side of Team Liquid. High risk and questionable how high the reward could potentially be. Kaka comes down, lands the stun onto Kuroki. They'll pop the haunt, Mind Control jumping up to the high ground, looking for the Doom, will find the Omni-Knight. Faith gets bursted as Miracle boxes in. SCCC gets off the Requiem, Mind Control pots the BKB, trying to get on the tree, but the Skadi slows him down. Omni-Slash comes through from U9. Matumba Man's chopped down. Liquid, they've lost 3. Miracle just trying to get himself out of there. He should be fine. Will actually turn, take the kill on Kaka. Blinks out just in time before U9 gets the damage through. So they do get a couple of Newbee, but it costs them the big bucks. Matumba Man going down again. Mind Control loses his life. I mean, as you said yourself, Sin, going into that was a very risky play and almost certainly a desperate one now from Liquid.
Yeah, and now the problem is they have cooldown on both Doom and Haunt again. They didn't get the Aegis, and Newbee's heroes are about to spawn. The kill on Nyx is actually pretty important that Miracle gets that in the end, because else the full lineup of Newbee would be ready to go high ground in a moment. Oh, GH finds a courier.
Ooh, eh?
The classic courier snipe with 4 attacks from
that
Lion.
was a very, very heavy bit of cargo as well.
Double crit!
I mean, dude, that's worth it. That courier had the complete Monkey King bar on Fresh CCC. So
Yeah,
that's something.
huge,
You
for sure.
absolutely throw away your life as a Lion for that one.
He got really unlucky though. That's a bit sad, you know. The automatic taunt that starts when you kill the courier and then Juggernaut blinks on you, double crits you. It's a bit frustrating. But yeah, I think he'll still take that. You know, he also has
definitely.
respawn talent on
Yeah,
Lion,
definitely.
so he's back alive. Now, what do Newbee do? Did that distract them enough and buy enough time that this Aegis will actually expire before they go high?
And will it be enough time before Haunt's going to be about, what, 30 seconds still for Haunt. It's the Doom that's the longer one, 50 seconds for that. And we've seen how in these fights where they've kind of got the even trains.
Matumba, he's stuck.
He's turned the Radiance off, though.
Oh, they saw him
He's
get
got the Radiance
stuck in
off.
here. Oh, this is terrible. Oh, no.
Oh, he does have buyback, but Matumba indeed getting set back.
That is
the umpteenth
so
time this
unlucky.
game.
So he basically threw a dagger and he wanted to move out to the left while he was still under phasing, and the phasing expired. And because he got stuck here in the tree line, he couldn't get back on the dagger because he doesn't have a quelling blade. So couldn't regain his phasing, didn't have TP ready, didn't have Haunt ready, and if he haunts, he dies anyway. That is a big death. It's another 40 seconds now for Newbee. They will just go.
Force this out.
Sure, they don't have Aegis anymore, but, well, we can force a Spectre buyback at the very least.
And even if the Spectre does buy back, they're probably going to still stick around. As Newbee just massive at this stage of the game. 36 minutes in, up to the high ground. It'll be a very easy mid-set of racks, almost certainly. A little fortification will slow them down momentarily, but no reason for Newbee to back off, as they'll take out the middle lane from Team Liquid. No buyback used, of course, but no point, no chance of saving those middle racks. So a little bit of a highlight. The buyback potential will be there for next time, but it really is questionable that even 2 lives of a Spectre at this stage in the position that Matumba Man's in will be enough against Newbee's lineup.
Yeah, Newbee have multiple options now. They could chill a bit, wait for next Roche, or if they feel like they have the right itemization now to go high ground, they could try to force a lane. And the third option is, of course, next Scouts tries to find Tinker or Spectre once again. And if they can connect anyone with that and find a kill, that could give them just a free high ground attempt. One option to set that up is to get Boots of Travel and another hero. I think that's something they might look into. Shadow Fiend actually has them. Juggernaut could be coming up for him. I think he'd rather just max himself out first, though. Let's see what Newbee want to do. Do they have a smoke? There's a line being drawn. Looks like they don't want to smoke for it. They're just going to scout. They think Liquid might be
smoke
going
in the
aggressive.
backpack of Faith.
Yeah. They think Liquid might be post aggressively because they're probably thinking to themselves, what will we do if we're Liquid right now? We know we're losing the game. How do we get back in the game is by making an aggressive play, but Liquid aren't making that move. And therefore this scan from Newbee, a bit wasted. Of course, a missed scan still gives information. They know they can move down here and push. So
gives the area of safety. And yeah, there we have. Lincoln Sphere, now complete for KP. He himself going to be even more untouchable in these team fights.
That is a big problem. This Doom has nothing to break it with.
Just more and more kills for Newbee as Kuro caught out once again. Manta style has been complete now by Matumba Man. GH is just going to hold his breath here in the tree line and will indeed TP himself back to base. 30 seconds without the tree. No buyback on Kuro. And Newbee ready to hunt and look for that second set of racks as they move down on this bottom lane. Matumba Man pushing out middle, has the Haunt available, ready for the fight if it kicks off, and it almost certainly will. And certainly needs to if Liquid want to have an attempt at holding on to this game. What do they do? Where do you make the jump? As you mentioned earlier, the healing ward's so powerful for Newbee here in these pushes. You've got to get someone jumping in, removing that. You've got to get someone jumping in, disabling KP. Kaka, he's got to be held back. So many different threats that have come together now from Newbee's lineup. And it really just seems like Liquid do not have the answers to nearly enough of what they have. Mind control, goes to the jump in. Doom, I believe the Lincoln Sphere did block it. No, he held on. Yeah, he didn't get it off. KP walks it away. They will manage to kill the Shadow Fiend, but the Omni Slash comes through from U9, cleans up Matumba. Mind control as well. There'll be a buyback from GH on the high ground. The Miracle has been surrounded. He'll buy back, but his Faith picking up a triple kill on the Crystal Maiden as Newbee will find this second set of racks. Liquid with 3 men down, none of these with that buyback available, so Newbee will simply move across and look for the Megas, as this one looks to be potentially all but over, Cinderin.
Yeah, I think, you know, Liquid go for this play. I think they have to. They have to try to jump them there. There's just so many odds stacked against them. And of course, I do believe the Doom was used on the Lincolns. I think they hadn't spotted it that the Omni Knight had it. It's a mistake. It can happen. Not ideal, obviously. I think they did have a couple of chances to click the Omni and see it, but did manage, and now Mega Creeps favoring Newbee. Looking very solid in this game, number one. I did have them massively favored based on draft, and the game kind of went the way I was expecting. A couple of bumps along the road, though. Liquid made some good moves. I really think Liquid are pretty damn good at setting fights up with what they have.
GG skill. They can't hold on to the Megas here. Liquid will tap out here in the game one. And yeah, as you mentioned, just Newbie, you're looking on another level on this first game today, to be fair. But from the draft to the play, it was just not. It didn't seem anywhere close for him.
Now, Liquid need to. Again, the bright sides for me in this game that I need to point out for them is they have a good ability to play multiple flank fights. Like, the fights they took were actually pretty damn good. They were just too hard to take, but the execution was good. Their movement into the fights was good. The communication, the way they set them up, very clearly know what they're doing. But I think the draft is just flat out too greedy. Like, you need to have more play potential, or if you want to play a greedier style, you need to take the split push route that Liquid have done previously with playing like Naga, for example, or Matumbaman's Morphling, something like that, so that you can avoid these fights breaking out that you do well in, but you're just too far behind to win them at the end of the day.
For sure, and even just going back to the start of the game, in the laning stage, we were talking about the support rotations from Liquid. It was a little all over the place, and it didn't really find what it needed to, did it? And it kept these supports behind very early on.
Yeah, I understand why they did what they did. I personally, once again, would have favored to see them prioritize Matumbaman a little bit more. Maybe one gank mid for Miracle, and apart from that, he needs to take care of himself. Spectre needs way more help than Tinker does. Maybe an adjustment. I would way rather just see them, once again, less greedy. Number one thing to take from this game.
Absolutely. And Liquid, of course, they're a team, as we've seen in the group stages, can clean themselves, pick themselves back up from a heavy defeat in a game one and bring something a little different to the table in game two. Hopefully we'll see that there, maybe something a little closer, but for Newbee, they're going to be feeling very confident after an incredibly dominant game one here in this second series of the day at the Kiev Major. Back to you, though, on the panel, Paul, and see what you guys have to say.
Thanks, Owen. We will, of course, return back to the arena with our commentary team for Game 2. A thoroughly dominating performance from our Chinese team, Newbee. It's 2 for 2 so far. At least they're on the verge of making it 2 for 2 because it is a best of 3. Back with our panel members once more, with Aoi once more, and Malini and Gods. Gods, we'll start with you. Cinderin said that was too greedy from Liquid. Do you agree?
Yeah, looking back, I think it's pretty straightforward to say. I think the other thing is if you're going to have a greedier draft, you need some way to defend your base while pressuring the other lanes. It felt like they didn't have that good split push here. Like if you have like an anti-mage type here, not to say it being the right pick, when the Newbee are grouping up as 5, which is very much their play style, like they control Roche, can go for objectives. If you have an anti-mage-esque hero, a Naga Siren-esque hero that can split push lanes, you're pressuring other areas of the map and forcing Newbee to go back defend. They had a Spectre. That's not a hero that split pushes. They had a Doom. Tinker doesn't really pressure the towers, so I didn't really feel like they had the ability to pressure Newbee back.
Yeah, and as far as Newbee were concerned, good execution, well played, really.
Yeah, I thought it was fabulous execution. They identified that Team Liquid couldn't defend their towers, and we just saw them barreling down to those towers. They had Treant armor, but Shafin just kept hitting it. He got Omninet healed, he got healing warded. I thought that was perfect play and execution of lineup by Newbee.
Ben, what do you make of it?
I have a confession to make. I selected Liquid. I'm in my bracket and on my fantasy team. So it's a lot of wishful thinking there. and then
the prediction itself.
When I saw the Tinker come out versus Nyx, I was like, this isn't going to end well, but I need the points. I need it. There's still 2 more games,
I will also come clean on my fantasy team. I put GH in today, hoping that they'd switch him into the Naga. Thinking if he's a support and I put him on a silver card with plus 15% kills.
There's still 2 more games, and their backs are against the wall.
I'm kind of going against myself here, not wanting a Naga game, but actually
which is more
one.
important, Paul?
The fantasy team. Fantasy points, right?
Exactly.
It's got to be the fantasy points. Yeah.
I have a gold GH card. I don't even know what's on the gold. I was like, yeah, this is going in.
You see the shininess. Like sometimes the silvers are better than gold.
It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I got flummoxed by the XXS gold card, and then just put that one in. That was what I put in, and I just thought, wait, hold on. I probably got better players in that position or something, but
doesn't matter. It's gold.
It's gold card. Got to put it in. Okay, we're going to get more from our panel members in just a moment and break down our first game. Also look ahead to the second game as well. But first, let's catch up with another one of the players. U9 was speaking to Shiva before the round of 16.
U9 Newbee. You joined Newbee after TI6. Can you tell us how that process went? How did you join the team?
跳了之后就是同服被牛逼收购了嘛，然后我就来到了牛逼打了 carry，就这样。
Yes, you played on Tong Fu for a very long time, and a lot of people you played with moved on, went to win TI in the case of Hao, I believe. Do you feel like you learned a lot by playing with them?
我会经常看好的录像，然后学习他怎么打的 carry。
And how did it help you grow in the 3 years that you were on Tong Fu? How did you grow? What did you focus on?
我觉得主要是经验的积累吧，打 carry 比较看重整体局势把握，然后经验就是打到后期经验比较重要吧。
And you were playing for a very long time in that Tong Fu team. Were you always believing that at some point your moment would come?
有，但是也没想过那么多吧。我就在同福其实打的也很开心，其实。
Well, I'm glad to hear that, because you also played a lot of mid, and at the moment you're playing carry. How did that transition go for you?
一开始是在同福是因为队伍需要，然后来了令嘛，然后我就从2号转了1了，然后就一直没有变过，就一直打了 carry。
And you prefer playing carry at the moment?
我觉得差不多。
What do you miss most about being a mid player?
就打2肯定是单杀对面的中单那种，是最怀念的。
That makes sense. Now coming into Newbee, it's a lot more exposure to the community. How have you learned to deal with that?
就正常心吧，就不要太被言论所影响的。
Now I know that there is a meme going around somewhat regarding your name. They sometimes call you NNN6. Could you talk to me about that?
这个好像就是从弹幕开始吧，我也不知道是怎么先喊的，反正就弹幕开始的有了这个梗，感觉还挺有意思的。
It seems like it. So you didn't do that well coming into Boston, the Boston Major. How do you feel you're right now, your status is as a team right now going into the main event of the Kiev Major?
我觉得我们队伍现在整体状态不是特别好，然后因为这次也是单败赛制吧，我就觉得可能就是队伍状态不是好，单败赛制，然后就比较可能整体发挥会不是特别好吧。
Do you feel like you've got one day to prepare beforehand? Is there enough time to fix the issues you've found so far?
调整肯定会有，就打路人这样的，但一天可能不是特别够吧，我觉得。
Well, I hope they are, and I wish you all the best of luck in the main event. Thank you for taking the time to talk to me. 谢谢。
谢谢。
Thank you very much, Shiva. Yes, with the interview there with the man sometimes called 9NNN. Those Chinese memesters, they're just the best.
They put a lot of thought into it. I wouldn't mind memes so much if they were clever.
6NNN, because it's upside down, and backwards, yeah.
They're clever.
Yeah.
They're so clever.
Way above Slack's kind of memes.
Slacks is pretty good too.
You gotta be careful.
Slacks is on top of the meme curve right now. You know,
Do you know the Chinese love him? The Chinese people, they absolutely
Everyone
adore
loves
his
Slacks.
memes. Yeah, but I didn't know whether the comedy would cross the the boundary. But it seems they think I can't remember which player it was, but one of them said he was introduced to Slacks, and then the translator said, "Oh, he just said, oh, this is the funny man from America." So that's what he called him, the funny man from America. It's
that
brilliant.
is who Slacks is, right?
That's kind of, it perfectly sums up. We're going to move to our second game, second draft. What do you want to see differently out of Liquid? Less greed.
Well, if I want them to win,
Yes, which you do.
probably Naga Siren first phase.
I'm going to go with you based on fantasy requirements right now.
Yeah, I think that is likely going to happen, actually.
Do you actually think that's their way to win, though? Like, I'm like, they lose with the Naga, they're versing a team that really 5-mans and takes objectives. Well, I feel like it's almost
I don't think
bad
so,
idea?
but at the same time, I think that they pick it a lot when they shouldn't.
Yeah.
And they win with it when they shouldn't too, right?
Yeah, they win with it when they shouldn't.
True.
As well.
Yeah,
but they also haven't won with it recently. Like, I mean, I wouldn't argue the opposite. Like, at DAC, they pick in their best one against Faceless. Like, they lose, They pick in the group stage. They were losing,
But those games, they should have lost anyways.
Okay.
There's times Okay, anyway, go
I'm
ahead.
so confused now.
What I really want is like I think they can pick a hero like Naga, but I think it's what's important for a team like Liquid, who has like these high MMR players who really like to utilize farm. I think that's something we've seen within Liquid. You have 4 players who require a decent amount of farm to function. I think they need heroes that will open up the map for them. They can pick the Naga, but they need to pick it with something that gives them some push.
Right.
You take a field tier 1, suddenly the map is more free. You can pick these split push heroes, these pressure heroes. And then when the other team goes for a tower, you have the damage to actually trade with them, you know? Get these efficient, economical moves over like just having to... we saw that there. Like they kept trying to smoke around on top, the tier 2, because they just couldn't pressure the other lanes at all.
I mean, they took some good fights in that game.
They did.
They were tough ones to win, though, weren't they?
A lot of things just had to go right.
Yeah.
Tinker had to not get stunned, and they had to get Doom off on Omni before spells got cast.
The thing is,
it's hard.
They did that in like half their fights, and they still lost them.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Liquid played those fights so well. They used the Haunt Vision perfectly. You know, you had Lion with like 3 lives every fight, just running in, baiting spells. So, but they still couldn't manage to pull it off because it was just so hard. Newbee's team fight was, I would rate it like 2 times better than theirs.
And that's surprising in a way, Gods, considering what United just said in the interview, that they didn't feel like they were in form coming to this. They didn't really feel like the meta suits them, or that their drafting was strong, or their playstyle was strong, and yet here they are on the verge of going through the quarterfinals.
They're versing a team that's playing outside of the meta. Like Liquid's kind of still trying to find themselves, so I think this is a matchup that works well for Newbee. We've seen them struggle more against the IGs, the OGs, VP style teams, so whether or not Newbee will be able to continue the same success, should they even win, they've still got game 2 to go through, is kind of another matter.
We've talked about first pick being important, Ben. Again.
This matchup, not so much.
Yeah.
The Tree and Protector, I don't really think they got that much fight.
It was the first pick CM, I think. I mean, maybe we see Liquid first pick CM this time around. Like
CM's great.
I think it's just one of those, it enables your whole draft. It actually is like a hero that we may start seeing first ban in certain teams and matchups, I think, just because of how good as a 5 it is.
And how competitive it is across the 2 teams. I mean, I think with some teams it seems like they know that's the priority, and yet they also rule it out as not that important for some reason. But it's become important, isn't it?
Yeah, it is important, but to be honest, I think second pick in this matchup, the last pick for the 1v1 mid is, like we talked so much about it, and it's just, last game they had a Tinker versus Nyx, not my favorite, but I think if the team with second pick adjusts that bit, picks a hero that will like sort of win the game for them, they'll have
But
a lot more
that was a
success.
Tinker into a Nyx. The Nyx was second pick. Did that not seem odd?
It was a Tinker to Nyx, Juggernaut to, like if you have to pick a carry to counter Tinker, you're going to pick Juggernaut. The healing word, as we saw in the game, it just healed up the Shadow Fiend, let them just sustain through the fight. You have a Magic Minion hero. If you find Tinker, you kill him in Omni Slash, there's nothing you can do about it. And even Omni Knight, as far as like team fight offlaners go, he's very good versus Tinker.
So why'd they pick Tinker?
I think they looked at our lineup and were like,
it just seemed odd.
We're so greedy here.
Yeah.
And I don't know what to pick to outspan our towers. We need something to outspan our towers. It doesn't matter if heroes counter in the game, our lineup needs it. Sometimes you need to pick a hero, even if it's not the best against your opponent's heroes, just to fulfill your lineup's needs. And I mean,
play to your strengths, as it were.
To be honest, I respect that pick. Like, it didn't work for them, but I think it was the best shot they had. Like, they needed something like that. And if they believed that Tinker was the best choice for them, then it probably was, to be honest. They just need to adjust their draft earlier than that.
Okay, draft 2 on its way fairly shortly. You see the crowd are just milling their way back and waiting for Liquid to come back to their booth as we wait. So I wonder, do we have any more social media questions in the bank? Because we've had quite a few. There's been some posts on Facebook, of course, and some posts on Reddit in the group stages. So we do have a few of those questions bubbling away. It seems like a reasonably good time to try and grab a couple of those, doesn't it? I wonder if we can get one. Was Bulba really ever the problem in Liquid?
Bob was a strange person and a strange player too. He dominates
Sam.
pubs. He's really good at
Sam's
talking
great.
about. Yeah, he is, but it just doesn't. It's just weird at how it doesn't translate into competitive victories.
I just want to say, Bob was one of my best friends in the scenes, but strange is a good description for him.
Yeah,
like, it's not even bad for it.
He'd be okay with that as well, wouldn't he? He'd actually
he'd be like,
"You call me strange? Yeah, no, I'm okay with that."
No,
yeah.
he'd probably say, "I'm not strange." As he starts like hugging you, and like, you're almost like, "Dude, this is strange." He's like
putting
no,
his
it's
cap
not.
on your head and doing weird stuff. Yeah, I mean, he seems to be a bit. I would classify him now as a journeyman kind of player. He just sort of finds a home, but somehow finds himself on a home that gets to a major.
Yeah, but regarding his place on Liquid, I think he's just an easy scapegoat. I'm not sure why. He just always seems like he's a scapegoat.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think
is he underrated right now?
A little bit underrated, in my opinion. No,
busting out the old
I
names now.
played a lot with Boba.
Yeah.
The one thing that sort of hurts Bulba in this sense as a scapegoat is like when losses happen, he'll be the first one who really tries to figure out what went wrong. And he's not always the best about how he communicates it. You know, he might be like, you know, we really need to do this, and everyone's like just lost and they're not feeling so great, and they like start talking about it, and you're like, oh, this guy.
But he immediately wants to
like
analyze,
the thing is, if you take 5 minutes and think of what he's saying, it's generally always correct. So if you can get past that and like learn to be a good teammate with him, he really will help the team improve. So I don't know.
He is not tactful.
He's a strange guy.
I think we're back to strange again.
I think to more directly address the question, I think it's becoming maybe over time more apparent that the problem more in Liquid is like not to say a single player, but it's to find the right balance between Matu and Miracle. I think that's actually the biggest problem they've had from day one, and they're still having today.
I'm going to give you another question on the makeup of Liquid. Do you think they're missing Fato in that team?
Yeah, I'd say somewhat. It's how do you fit him back in?
He seemed more team orientated, shall we say?
Definitely.
When he
Even the
played
heroes
with
that he played. He played like DK and stuff like that. Who likes playing DK?
I like playing
Viper.
I was going to say,
Naga,
he
DK,
likes playing Naga
What about
and DK
Viper?
as well, and Pugner.
Viper is my original hero.
Oh my god.
See?
Get me out
Ellie
of
is
here.
the original spawn of Satan when it comes to
other
heroes.
players' enjoyment goes down, my enjoyment goes up. That enjoyment has to go somewhere, you know.
Yeah.
There's science laws about that.
Have you been playing some Broodmother recently? Has something happened to you?
You know, it's funny because we actually tried that hero in scrims, and
Did
I was
you?
playing on MP. But no, I want to say something about Liquid and Fada. It's like,
Okay.
oh man, I was enjoying myself too much talking about like Naga, like, the cancerous heroes. I had a good point, I swear.
I'm sure it'll come back to you. Don't
About
worry.
Fada and
Yeah,
DK
about
and creating space.
Fado is
Oh,
a Liquid
it's
player.
the thing about Fada is he's not just a team player. He leads a lot. Like I played with Fada. He makes a lot of calls.
Right.
He's one of the only players I know who will tell people to set up for kills that don't even involve him. He'll be like, you know, if we set up here, you TP to this tier 2 early, we'll get this kill. And the hero that you're killing won't even appear on the map for 10 seconds, but you'll trust him and do it because he's so good. I think the one thing that can be said about Miracle and Matumman is they're extremely high skill players, but they're a bit on the quieter side. And I think in the past few metas, it's hard to lead a team if your 1 and 2 position aren't taking control of the game at some point, because these are the heroes that have the items, you know? Your Shadow Fiend's the one who's going to say, I want to hit high ground now. You know, I have the best perspective of when I can hit base and not die. As a 5 position, you know, maybe you're like 0 to 15, Crystal Maiden,